Hello. Hi, how is everyone doing? I had a comment from an old video today, and it reminded me that there is more to my message on this channel than crafts and fun stuff. I love to do all that, and you guys love it when I do. But sometimes I have to be reminded that there are things that people really need discussed and need to feel that they're not alone. And I don't take COPD lightly. I don't take depression lightly. I just want you to know there's hope and companionship. That's what we're going to discuss tonight. Barbara, I want to thank you for your comments, your wonderful comment on sounds of COPD. That video, I do remember it. After I had to listen through it again because it's been a while since I made that one. It was in September last year. And it reminded me of a time where I was really struggling. And part of it was the weather, a lot of it was weather, and part of it was that I had not been put on this medication that I'm on now, which is helping a lot with the lack of mucus buildup. I do still get it though. I just don't produce as much, so I don't get quite so bad. But that said, I still have to be careful of humidity. I still get the cough and stuff. It's just not as often or as bad. Not right now. It's not a cure-all drug, but it has helped me. And that's the thing I want people to understand. I have to have hope. Because I'm a depressive type of person. I am bipolar. And the bipolar one is the one where, people range up on the mania side or the high end. I'm a bipolar too, which means I can go up, but I'm going to be just a little below that most of the time. And a lot of it's where I go into the really deep parts is with depression, because I tend to spend more time the depressed area. I'm also on medication for that though, so be thankful there. So hope is something that I hope we can share with each other. And so a lot of times I know I ask questions like, what kind of craft would you like to do? Send me a memory, that kind of thing. And those are great, because those kind of bring us together in a different way. But I don't want anybody to ever be afraid to come out and say, hey, I have MS, I have Parkinson's, I have cancer. And learn that there's a lot of us out here who do suffer, and you're not alone. I don't know what your situation is, or if it's worse than what mine is. I'm sure there's a lot worse than me. But I hold on to that hope. And I want to tell you why. And there's a lot of verses, but these two, this is what I really wanted to hold on to. From 3 John 1, verse 2, in the King James Version, because that's your public domain. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. I'm sorry, King James, with dentures. Proverbs 17:22. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. That one there in Proverbs is probably my closest to my reason for trying to keep a hopeful spirit as anything. I worked as a nurse for a long time. I worked with patients who were terminally ill because, well, when I first started out as a nurse in my 20s, primarily that was what I preferred, was to take care of the people who need skilled care. And I had seen people come in there who had terminal cancer, because cancer was, they had treatments for it then, but nothing like they do now. Nothing that is as targeted and as successful as we do today. But I'd seen them come in with expectations of weeks to a few months, but they had the most bright spirit and the happiest heart, and they just simply did not, they would rather live that day than die for months. And then I'd see some come in, they had let it just break them down, and they just dove into that dark place. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the kind of depression that is a chemical imbalance in the brain. That I do know something about. But I'm talking about the kind where you just give up. You just give up and just sit there and wait to die. You don't want to do that. I know you don't. I don't either. And that's why hope means so much to me. And it's true what Proverbs said. You know, all of that, being positive and keeping hope, that gives us that one day at a time, hope and medicine. Because I've seen someone who was supposed to have been dead in a few months live 3 to 5 years longer, or at least a year longer than in 10. And then someone who came in and just had their diagnosis, who were expected to just be there long enough to be treated for a little bit, go home and be able to live for a while longer, they just come in and just wither away. And that's where hope is needed. And that's why I wanted to talk about this tonight. Last night, I went down in the basement with my husband, and we had a video on here about it. And I had not been down there since last year. Well, it's coming into tornado season again. But those stairs are steep. And there was a time, there was no way I was going down those stairs, because there was no way I was coming back up, because I just wasn't getting the air. And now I did have to stop a couple times last night and catch my breath. I still do, and a lot of times on camera. But I'm still here. They put me on oxygen in 2006. This is 2019. I don't plan on going anywhere soon. Another thing to keep in mind, recently, and this is exciting, recently, these new scans it's a type of a scan they do on the brain that shows if someone has the beginning stage or has any stage of Parkinson's. It has to do with the dopamine that is produced in the brain. They're now able to map that. That is so hopeful, because the earlier you catch it, the earlier you start caring for it, the much longer it will be before the severe symptoms start to hit. I am hoping, because my mother has Alzheimer's. Her sister died of Alzheimer's. Her mother had Alzheimer's and passed away. And so it is in my family. And I hope to, gosh, I would like to see them get something like that. They do have better medication now than when my grandmother had it. But it's still something that cannot actually be fully diagnosed until autopsy. But with these kinds of breakthroughs, even with this, there's hope. And hope is what we live with every day. Even healthy people. Hope is what makes you go one step to the next step. And that's what I just find fascinating. It does hurt. When I get to coughing sometimes, yeah, my muscles hurt. When I get to doing a lot of that heavy breathing, my back, my shoulders, my back, where all that tension goes from all that shoulder breathing, it'll get tight. It'll get so tight. And sometimes I will take something for that. A muscle relaxer or something. Now, the muscle relaxer doesn't help with the sore muscles, but it does help that tightness and stuff. I just want you to know, keep hope and walk that one day at a time. And yeah, I'm here with you. I understand you have a very legitimate health issue. Mental health is medical. They finally realized that a few years ago. But if it's a disease or a mental health issue, whatever it is, it's real, and it's real to you. And so that's why I've gone kind of spiritually based on this channel. And I want to keep it that way. But I want you to understand, yes, I still have COPD, and I still live with it. And I know you can too. For as long as we have. Now we have to say goodbye. That makes me sad. Why? We get to come back to you. We'll be back on Friday. I know. I just never like to say goodnight. Oh, you're one that doesn't like to go to sleep. Oh, I like to sleep. Dogs love to sleep. Are you kidding me? I don't know. I can't read your brain. That's all you do is read my brain. You are my brain. That's true. Let's say goodnight. Why don't we just do it this way? What? Please subscribe and click that notifications bell. Yeah. And give us one of those thumbs up, like us. We love you guys. But that's, you just like us if you want to. It is totally up to them. Well, of course. And don't forget to smile and wave so that you can make someone feel good, make you feel good, and maybe make a new friend. Yeah. I'd like to see the other puppy dog's tails wag. Then I get happy too. Well, that's one way to put it. We do love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.